So President Trump formally announcing his plans to make Washington, D.C. safe again.
This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back and placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
And one Democrat is warning her party to get on board or risk losing public trust. Joining me now, former White House Press Office Chief of Staff, Yemisi Egbewole. Yemisi, thanks so much for joining the program.
Good to be here, Lawrence.
So tell me what you mean by that. You know, I've been covering the crime crisis in D.C., Baltimore, and a lot of areas in the country. And when they hear the stats being told, a lot of people tell me it just doesn't paint the full picture. How do you see it?
Well, I think we have to be willing to say the quiet part out loud. And I think as Democrats, it's facing uncomfortable conversations about crime. Look, no one wants to put kids in jail or lock them away for life, but when we ignore a problem, we allow it to fester, and we don't target what the founding issue of the problem is. And I believe for D.C., a lot of that has to do with our youth and with education. I mean, D.C. for 2022 to 2023 had about 40% of kids that faced chronic absentee, so that means they missed 10% or more of the school year. Well, where are those kids when they're not in school? They're outside causing a little bit of chaos. They're raiding grocery stores, drug stores. They're putting entire sections of the city under curfew. And the fact of the matter is the president is addressing something that is very real. We can live in this city and say it's a beautiful city, and we can also say that we have a chronic issue when it comes to our youth.
Yemisi, this is what some of the residents in Washington, D.C. said. Watch.
I think it frankly doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't trust that anything he put in place would improve safety.
Right now, we're not safe. We're kids and the teenagers doing everything.
When he says safety, when he's talking about federalizing it, what he really means is cracking down on the residents of the city.
The city is getting dangerous. So if we don't protect each other and we don't have police out there protecting us, then it could be a problem.
You know, Yemisi, as you can see from the footage, there's a clear generational difference. You see the elders in that video saying it's out of control. And you're seeing the young people say it's not going to work. I don't see any problem at all.
Well, I can see how the young folks might feel a little bit apprehensive because of who the messenger is, President Trump. But Lawrence, I mean, I'm sure you know this as well. When we were kids growing up, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., those were adult hours. And now when you go outside in this city, I see adults, but I also see a lot of children. And so we have to tackle what's happening in their homes, because guess what? These kids live in neighborhoods with other kids who want to succeed. When we ignore public safety, we reduce opportunity for a lot of these young children. And I think we do a disservice to these vulnerable communities when we aren't willing to have these conversations.
Yemisi, you are so right. It was be home before the street lights are on. Every single night. Exactly. I want to get your comments on this other topic. Democrat socialist Zohran Mamdani launches his anti-Trump tour, promising to be the administration's worst nightmare if elected. This is what he had to say. Let's watch it.
There is no borough that will be free from Trump's cruelty. Donald Trump does not respond well to cowardice, to collaboration. He requires a response that showcases the ability to fight back against that same agenda. And that's what I would do if and when he makes these kinds of threats with regards to New York City. I describe my administration as being his worst nightmare. I describe it as such because we will actually fight for the people that he claimed to be running to represent.
Is this the right campaign strategy for him right now? Make it him versus Trump and kind of discount the other people that are in the race?
Look, I want to caution Democrats. I think Zohran can run a kind of anti-Trump campaign because he exists in New York City, and the boroughs have made it very clear that they are deep blue. If you exist in rural districts, suburban, swingier districts, do not do this approach. You need to do something that's more holistic about the policy issues. It's going to be interesting to see if Zohran can tie affordability into Trump and how he plays that in the boroughs. But I want Democrats to make sure that we keep our message local. And so pay attention to your constituents, pay attention to your districts.
I feel like I say this every time you're on. Why don't they just hire you? Maybe they can win some things if they hire you. You can still be a Democrat and be reasonable. Yemisi, thanks so much for joining the program.
Always a pleasure.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.